All right, we're back. Fantasy football Yoda. My name is Eric. Let's move on to the running back rankings for 2021. All right, so number one overall is Christian McCaffrey. I have him in tier one by himself. I think he's the safest lock there is. He's just going to get a ton of usage. He's Yeah, I mean he's only 25 years old. I know he had an injury last season, but yeah, I mean I don't know. I mean maybe he misses a couple games. Even still, when he's healthy, he's gonna get you 20 points regardless. He's gonna get 6 catches, probably like I don't know, close to 50, 60 yards receiving every game. He's gonna get 60 catches. I mean 60 rushing yards at least every game. 120 yards per game. Yeah, I mean, he's getting over 1,600 yards. That's for certain, easily. Over 1,600 total yards. Going to get over 12 touchdowns in total. I mean, what's that? 160 plus 60. That's 220. 220 plus 12 is what? 232. I mean, at worst, that's worst case, guys. Worst case, Christian McCaffrey gets you 232 fantasy points. I mean, even that, even his worst case, I'd still have him at number three in my running back rankings. I think he does well over that. So yeah, he's safe money, clear overall number one pick. Derrick Henry comes in at number two. They're still gonna, and so this is the start of tier two. So Christian McCaffrey, all by himself, tier one. Tier two has 6 running backs in it. Number two overall, Derrick Henry. He's 27 years old this year. I really don't like how many running backs I have above the age of 25 in my top seven. I only have one player below 25 years old. Normally, it doesn't work like that for running backs. So, I mean, I'm really trying to figure it out how I can put somebody else up there, but I just can't do it. So, Derrick Henry, 27 years old. I have him getting around 240 fantasy points. I think they're going to run the ball in Tennessee. No shocker there. He's probably going to get 15 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, he's safe money. He doesn't get hurt that often. He's not a bruiser for his size. He doesn't really try to bruise people. Like in the open field, he's trying to juke. He's trying to like use his speed and using that stiff arm. So yeah, I like Derrick Henry. I like his usage. He's a safe pick, safe top running back to take. You're not going to miss with him. He's going to get you points. Dalvin Cook is number three. Dalvin scares you because he gets injured every single year, right? I mean, you just hope it's not more than 3 games in the season. If he can only miss 2, maybe 3, and he's healthy for your fantasy championship playoff run, well, I mean, you can make the case that he should really be number two overall, maybe even number one overall. And but just because for the injury concerns, we'll keep him at number three. I have him around 240 fantasy points as well. Number four, I have Alvin Kamara. He's also 26 years old, just like Dalvin Cook. Kamara, even with Taysom Hill, I mean, Taysom Hill might start the whole year. I don't know. My gut feeling tells me Jameis Winston gets in there and actually starts quite a bit, maybe even half the season. Regardless, I kind it's very small sample size with Taysom Hill last year, and I mean, like 2 of the games it didn't even matter because they played Denver with like a backup practice squad quarterback who wasn't even really a quarterback. So yeah, it's so hard to tell, is Taysom really gonna be throwing to Kamara a lot? But even with that said, Sean Payton's going to get Kamara involved. He's only 26 years old. He's going to get his touches. He's going to get 15 touches a game in that offense. Um, yeah. I mean, I can't. That's how kind of limited the rest of the running backs are, in my opinion, this season. Where even without Drew Brees, I still have Kamara number 4. I mean, I can't justify putting anybody above him because he's gonna get his touches. He's gonna get 5 receptions a game. I mean, when they were down against the Eagles, he had 5 or 6 catches. So he's I mean, Sean Payton gets his best players the ball. Point blank period. Kamar's the best guy in that offense. He's somehow, some way, I have confidence in Sean Payton to get Kamara his touches. He'll get his touches. He's gonna do his thing and get points. It might not be like what he's usually going to get you. He might not have as many scoring chances because they might not move the balls well. There's a lot of concerns with Kamara. Don't get me wrong, but I have to trust my numbers. I have to trust my projections. I think worst case he gets 230 fantasy points. Worst case. So he's too talented. I'm not passing up on him if I have the 4th pick and who's left. I'll take Alvin. Number 5, I have Aaron Jones. Um, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is back. That offensive line is still good. Jamal Williams is gone. So I think they like Dylan. I don't think he's going to get more carries than Jamal Williams did. I mean, I think he gets just as many as when Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones were like split in time as rookies. Maybe that's his best case scenario. And Aaron Jones is steadily, slowly improving his pass catching ability. So there's that. He's 27 years old. Again, these running backs, man, they are old for like running in terms of running backs. Um, once you get past 25, 26, you're really, I don't know. It's hard to really love these guys to do amazing things, but I don't know. Hey, I mean, there's so much more science and nutrition and how to take care of your body, and these athletes are doing it. So maybe we start to see running backs not tail off until 30 years old here in the future. Maybe 27 is a prime number. I mean, like not a prime number, but like a prime athletic performance age number for running backs now. But yeah, I got Aaron Jones getting the 230 fantasy points. All right. Number 6, first kind of shocker. Well, I guess Aaron Jones is considered a shocker. A lot of people have Ezekiel Elliott ahead of him, and I don't know, Jonathan Taylor. But yeah, number 6, and we're still in tier 2, by the way. So Najee Harris, 6th overall, 23 years old this season. I have him getting 225 easy. I mean, it's not a bad offensive line, but it's an offensive line where all 5 of the projected starting players have never played with each other, and there's a rookie or 2 on there potentially, and they're young. So I don't know. There's some growing pains to monitor for sure, but I like Najee, man, and he can catch the ball well. They're gonna. He's better than Le'Veon Bell, man. They're gonna figure out a way to get him the ball, and they're gonna try to run it into the end zone a lot. Okay, I mean the owner Art Rooney, he came down, told Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin, before free agency started, before the draft, we can't be 32nd in the NFL, which is last in the NFL in rushing the ball. He said, no, we're running the ball this year. You see how they drafted. They drafted 2 offensive linemen, and they drafted Najee Harris in the first round. They will be running the football this season. Believe me, I'm a Steelers fan. Um, yeah, so I got Najee Harris. I mean, I wouldn't have him this high if he wasn't, as good of a receiver as he is out of the backfield. He's a really good receiver. I mean, there's a case for him being, top 5 fantasy football player, top 5 fantasy running back. But yeah, Ezekiel Elliott comes in at 7. I'm just a little nervous. I know he's lost the weight. I know he looks good. I know he looks agile. I'm just I don't know about Zeke. I know the offensive line, the big boys, the tackles are back, they're healthy. There's a lot to like about it. I think he gets his red zone touches for sure, but I don't know. There's just this part of me that thinks Tony Pollard is just lingering in the background. Like he's just like, man, and I think they give him maybe more carries or more touches and just blame it and try to put it off as like, no, we're just trying to preserve Ezekiel Elliott. But really, I think they're going to try to work him in a little bit more than usual. That's why I'm a little bit nervous about Zeke. And yeah, I mean, he's not as fast as he was coming. I mean, he's 26 years old. He's just not as fast as when he came out of Ohio State. I mean, he had good speed on him, and he never really looked that same, or at least he never looked the same after he had that what was it, the court case where he got suspended for 6 games or something. Yeah, he never looked the same after that. So that's why I'm just cautious about Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's very safe. I think he's going to produce. I think 215 fantasy points worst case. I mean, some of the guys ahead of him, I think, could finish below seventh overall. I don't think Zeke finishes worse than seventh overall. I think he's one of the safest running backs you can take. Okay, enough of Zeke. Let's go to tier three. So tier three, eighth overall is Nick Chubb. Chubby is only at 25 years of age this season. He's pretty durable, but he does run very physical. I mean, if there's one running back in the NFL, and I'm a Steelers fan, so, I mean, I've already said that. So, I mean, I don't like playing against Nick Chubb, but I have no problem saying that. If I have a running back that I want to give the ball to get me like 5 yards, I'm going to give the ball to Nick Chubb. I'm not giving it to Derrick Henry. I don't know. Dalvin Cook is up there. I mean, Dalvin can get you 5 yards. But Nick Chubb, man, he is just a special runner. So special. But the only reason why he is eighth overall is because he only averages like 25 receptions a year. And in fantasy, I can't have that, man. I need a back who's going to catch the ball and be involved in the passing game. I mean, at least get to 40 catches, something like that. I mean, less than 30? I mean, that's less than 2 a game, so I'm really banking on you running the ball for 1,400 yards and, like, more than 15 rushing touchdowns, which he could easily do, but, I mean, gosh, man, that's a mammoth of a season. I mean, when you rush for 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns, that's a heck of a season, so for that reason being, that's why Nick Chubb falls at 8. Number 9, I got Miles Sanders. He's 24 years old. That offensive line in Philly is really good. They have talent at the wide receiver position. Fulgham, Rager, Devontae Smith. Zach Ertz came back. That was kind of a surprise or uncertainty. He's back. Literally everything is great. I'm talking like talent everywhere on that offense. Top 10 offensive line, top 7, maybe top 5 offensive line in the NFL, right? And you have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Jalen Hurts can move the football with a good offensive line and talented wide receivers. He's done this at Alabama. He's done this at Oklahoma. I'm not as down on Jalen Hurts as a lot of people are. I think there's some promise there. And if he's able to move the ball a little bit better than he did last season, that's going to be pretty good for the Eagles. They're going to score some points. And Miles Sanders is going to be a big part of that. So I like Miles Sanders at 9. I love his upside. He's only 24 years old. I love running backs under 25 or 25 and younger. They're fresh, they're fast, you know. Miles Sanders is involved in the passing game a lot. There's really nobody behind him that is going to push him, take him off the field. They want Miles Sanders on the field. They like Miles Sanders. The coaching, Nick Sirianni coming in from Indianapolis, and I think he was with the Chargers before that. They threw the ball to the running back a lot. I think Miles Sanders has tremendous upside. I'm really high on him. I'll probably have him in a lot of my leagues. And he burned me last season. He really did burn me last season. He got injured. He didn't play as well. That offensive line had a ton of injuries. They're all back now. I like Miles Sanders. I'll be pretty darn shocked if he's not a top 10 fantasy running back this season if he misses only 2 games, 3 games. All right. All right. Pick number 10, Antonio Gibson. I'm big on Antonio Gibson. A Gib. I'm big on A Gib this season. The Washington football team, they have a really interesting offensive line situation. It's one to feel very optimistic about. They have talent, experience, and just optimism in that unit. Literally, they have guards that have played tackle, started at tackle. They have tackles that have started at guard. Um, and then they brought in 2 talented tackles. They're not they have deficiencies at either, pass blocking or run blocking. But bottom line is they're gonna that offensive line, they're going to and they drafted Sam Cosmi, the rookie in the second round out of Texas. They have enough talent there to figure it out to put it together a really good offensive line, above average offensive line by week like 6. But even before week 6, they're still going to be able to run the ball and have figure out a at least average offensive line. That's all I need for an A Gib. That's all I need. He used to be a wide receiver in college. They like throwing to McKissick, the other running back, a lot, but they threw to Antonio Gibson a lot too last season during a couple of games. I really, really like Antonio Gibson to get to at least 205 fantasy points. Um, I really like that number a lot. Lots of upside. I think he could get 50 catches. I think he could rush for 1,100 yards, and I think easily could get 12 total touchdowns. Easily. Really high on Antonio Gibson. Number 11, I have J.K. Dobbins. He's 23 years old. Um, Man, all these guys in this tier are 25 years or younger now that I'm looking at it. So maybe this is the tier everyone needs to look at and like draft these players, right? I mean, these are the young running backs that are like super talented. There's just a couple of question marks. So like J.K. Dobbins, he averaged 6 yards per carry last season. That's unheard of. That's upper echelon. That's like really amazing. Okay. He's only 23 years old this year. He's going to get to 200 fantasy points. Worst case, like I'm not even worried about it. Gus Edwards will get around 8 carries a game. So Dobbins will probably only get like 15. Lamar will get like the other 15. you know? So, yeah. Dobbins, even if he only averages like 5 yards a carry, right? And he gets like 200, like 25 carries or something like that. I think like quick mental math, that's like 1,125 rushing yards. I think that's very doable for Dobbins in that run oriented offense, especially with Lamar at quarterback. I think Dobbins gets easily 12 rushing touchdowns. So what's that? Like 115 plus 6, 175. 175 plus 12 is like, yeah, 190. And that's not including his receptions. So he's going to catch the ball. Not a ton at all, maybe 30. maybe 30 catches, maybe. Um, and he'll get some yards there. So yeah, he's gonna get to 200 points. I like Dobbins a lot. Really high on Dobbins. I think he's one of the safest picks you can take in this draft. Like if he's your running back too, like say you get I don't know, like Aaron Jones or Najee Harris, and then Dobbins is there for you like in the middle of the second round. I think that's a really good two pair right there. Okay, let's go to 12. 12, I have Clyde Edwards Hilaire. It's kind of difficult to say. I mean, last season, he's 22 years old, by the way, this season. Like, I mean, he was young, man. I mean, he came out when he was 20, played last year at 21. He's only 22 years old. He's a short thing, though, man. He's 5'6". Like, I can't even give him 5'7". 5'6". He's short. I mean, he's small too. He's not like the biggest. He's strong. He plays hard for his size. I mean, he showed that. He plays tough, but I don't know. I mean, people always like, Andy Reid. He had Jamal Charles. He had Brian Westbrook in Philadelphia. Had Kareem Hunt. He's like the running back, you know, guru in terms of getting them like a lot of fancy points. But I don't know. I don't. I'm nervous about Clyde Edwards at the goal line. He couldn't punch it in. He's just too small. I mean, I watched last year. There's times where I'm like, oh, they're on the 1 yard line. Oh, he has a good shot of getting in, and just couldn't get in. So he's gonna get some. He's gonna get the receptions. He's gonna get rushing yards. He's gonna get the yards. Will he get the touchdowns? I don't know. There's honestly a scenario where like he might only get 8 total touchdowns. That's why I have him at 12 and I don't have him higher as like a lot of other people have him. A lot of people have Clyde Edwards like in their top 10. I mean, I have him at 12. I mean, I still think he's going to be a running back one, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. The touches should be there. He's a safe running back two to have on your team. Um okay, 13, I have Joe Mixon. Again, I don't love the offensive line. I know I've talked about this in the quarterback breakdown rankings. Joe Mixon. The offensive line, though, is improved. It's steadily, slowly improving. They have talent on there. And they brought back the offensive line coach from Joe Mixon's rookie season or second year in the NFL, where he had like 1,200 or 1,100 yards rushing and like 4 point something yards per carry. Basically, his best rushing performance with not much of a better line than what he has now with that offensive line coach. So they're going to be running that run scheme. So, yeah, I like Joe Mixon. Can he stay healthy? That's another question. I don't know. I mean, I've wanted to like Joe Mixon the past couple of seasons. It's so hard to, but now they have Joe Burrow, so the offense should move, right? So it's like, I don't know. You just get a little scared with Joe Mixon. You're like, is he really going to break through this year? Is he really gonna be consistent for you? Is he, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I have him at 13. I mean, he could easily be a top 12 fantasy running back. He could. He could be a top 10, but I don't know. And that's why I have him at 13. 14, I have Saquon Barkley. Um, there's not even a guarantee he's going to be, you know, 100% for week one. So I'm going to stay away from him. Not just for that reason, but also because the offensive line is, um, I'm going to say it has a high probability of being the worst offensive line in the NFL in 2021. The tackles give me optimism. I like the guy that got out of UConn 2 years ago. I think he has a lot of upside. Andrew Thomas played a lot better down the stretch last season. So tackles give you room for optimism, reason for optimism. The interior offensive line, however, is really poor. Just not very good. And then I guess Shane Lemieux, the one of the guards, went down. I don't know what happened with him. Bottom line, I don't really care what happened with Shane Lemieux. I don't trust Danny Dimes. or Daniel Jones. You can't even call him Danny Dimes anymore. He doesn't deserve that nickname. Um, yeah, that offensive line is a big question mark for me. Daniel Jones, big question mark for me. How efficient is that offense going to be? I think Saquon gets his usage. How effective he will be because of the circumstances around him, I don't know. I'm not risking it. He's not going to be on my fantasy team. And that's why he's 14th overall in my rankings. Okay, so that is the end of tier 3, right? All those guys are 25 years and younger. I'm telling you, I think there's like 3 or 4 guys in it that are going to be in the top 10. Well, I guess I got to take that back cuz 3 of them are already in the top 10 in my rankings. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, there's good predictable running backs in this draft. So bottom line, guys, is that you want to try to get 2 guys out of out of the 14 that I just named, right? If you get 2 of those running backs on your team, you're setting your fantasy team up for success. Okay. You'll have to draft them in your first 2 rounds. So sorry, you're not gonna get Tyreek Hill, you're not gonna get Devontae Adams, but there are enough wide receiver options later in the draft where you can get guys that are going to be top 5 fantasy wide receivers, top 10 fantasy wide receivers that will get you 200 fantasy points, 220 fantasy points. Take the running backs, guys. Please. You're If you don't take the running backs, you're really going to you're just one injury away from having 2 black holes on your team. Like, you're gonna have every other position looking fabulous except for your running backs. Because if you don't get one of those 2 guys, then you're hoping and praying that another running back works out or comes onto the scene, or you get the guy off the waivers that everybody is wanted, right? It's just, guys, it's not it's fantasy is like already kind of stressful as it is sometimes because like you want to win and it's so up to luck and you can't control everything. The draft, you can control this. If you draft 2 running backs with your first 2 picks and you get one of the two guys out of the 14 that I just mentioned, you're in a great spot. Okay. You're in a great spot. You have a lot of options. You're going to have a well balanced team that you can manage your team throughout the bye weeks and the injuries. You have to have 2 of those guys. All right, enough of my running back draft strategy. Let's go to the next tier where everyone is 26 years old and younger. So Austin Eckler is number 15. My rankings, I think I sleep on him a little too much. I think he's more talented and is going to have more touches than I think that are what I thought he was going to get. I think he gets to 200 fantasy points. I think, kind of like Ezekiel Elliott, I'd be kind of shocked if Austin Eckler is less than 15th by the end of the season. He has, you know, he's kind of comparing himself to like Alvin Kamara. I mean, he's not Alvin Kamara. I mean, he tries really hard and he's talented. He's got very good speed and, he's strong and he has okay agility, pretty good agility. I don't know. I mean, let's see. And Lombardi's offense, came from New Orleans, so that's why he drew the Alvin Kamara comparison. I think he's gonna get 75 receptions, 6 total touchdowns, maybe like 8 to 10 carries a game. So, I mean, with that said, that's still gonna get him some good fantasy points. I would be okay if he was like my 3rd running back on my roster, and just where his average draft position is right now, you'll never be able to get him as your 3rd. I mean, you might, and if you want to go like 3, if you have the first overall pick and then he's there at like pick 25, like maybe you could get him if people just are like passing on him. Yeah, I'd be cool with that. That'd be nice. Like if I get Christian McCaffrey and then like uh I don't know, Miles Sanders and then Austin Eckler. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. All right, enough of Eckler. 16 is David Montgomery. And it goes back to that offensive line for Montgomery. By the way, the Chargers offensive line is looking pretty darn good this season. The Bears' offensive line, not so much. It's definitely a mystery. Definitely a mystery. I kind of like the interior offensive line. The tackles are very concerning, and I'll leave it at that. The offense should move a lot better this year. I don't think they're going to be as bad at running the ball as they were last year. Um, Tariq Cohen is back, but I don't even think they really want to use him a ton. Yeah, I guess I could even make the case Montgomery should be like top 14 potentially. Might even deserve to be in that other tier, but I don't know. I kind of like him in this tier. So yeah, I don't know how successful he can be with that offensive line. We'll see. I would like him as my third running back. Again, all these guys that I'm naming off, these would be good third running backs to have on your team. So yeah, I'd be pretty happy with David Montgomery as my third running back. Okay, 17, Jonathan Taylor. By the way, Austin Eckler is 26 years old, and David Montgomery is 24 years old this season. Jonathan Taylor will be 22 this season. He's my 17th running back. I had him here before the Carson Wentz injury. Okay, at me, mention me, talk about it. I mean, I'm sure people are already talking like, "Hey, I'm crazy. I got Saquon Barkley 14th overall." I have Jonathan Taylor 17th overall, and this was before the Quentin Nelson injury, before the Carson Wentz injury. Okay, I just know that Marlon Mack is going to take a lot of his touches away. They like Marlon Mack. Marlon Mack's only 25 years old. I mean, he's not old. He's a young, fresh, relatively fresh back. And he was injured last season, like all of last season. So he's had a full year to recover. They're going to get him involved. It's not just going to be Jonathan Taylor and that's it. Okay. And then Hines. They like throwing the ball to Hines. He's the third down guy. So I like Jonathan Taylor. Don't get me wrong. He's very talented, fast, strong, big back, Wisconsin back. You love those guys, right? They have a pretty darn good offensive line, even without Quentin Nelson. They have a good offensive line. Um, but yeah, I don't see the usage there for him. I got to pass on him. He's 17th on my list. 18th on my list is Travis Etienne, the rookie out of Clemson. He's 22 years old this season. Man, they're lining him up in the slot. I'm thinking of the wide receivers in Jacksonville. I don't think they really have a slot receiver. I mean, they have Marvin Jones Jr., but I don't know. I think Urban really wants to get Travis involved. I really do. I think he's going to get a lot of touches. I mean, he might only get only 8 rushes a game, and James Robinson might get like 15 a game or whatever. But Travis is probably going to get 5 receptions a game. I mean, at worst. I mean, that's getting close to 75 receptions for the year. And I mean, he's just a special guy, man. I mean, Travis is special. He's got Alvin Kamara like talent. He might be more talented than Alvin. I mean, I'm serious. He might be. So, man, I want him on my fantasy team. I really do. I got him 18th overall. 19, Chase Edmonds out of Arizona. So difficult to understand what Cliff Kingsbury's thinking. It's really difficult. It's the Kyler Murray show. Um, with all that said, I don't think James Conner's a big threat to Edmonds. Maybe in the red zone, maybe on the goal line. Maybe they're like, nah, bring Connor in and take Edmonds out. That would stink. That would really stink, right? But Edmonds should get a lot of receptions, and yeah, I mean he's the clear cut guy there. I'd be okay if Evans was like my third running back, but I don't even know. I don't even. The more I think about it, it's so unpredictable with the running back situation in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach. So probably gonna pass on Edmonds. Number 20, Edmonds is 25 years old, by the way. Kareem Hunt, 26 years old. He's gonna get a lot of touches. He's gonna get the same amount of touches that he got last season. even with Nick Chubb healthy, Kareem Hunt gets 8 to 10 carries a game, and he's the better pass catcher out of the two running backs, him and Chubb. So Hunt's gonna get, I don't know, 50 catches. That's really good. He's gonna get points. Kareem Hunt would be a really solid third fantasy running back to have on your team, flex player. Like he's somebody. He's gonna get you points. He's talented. I mean, he's very talented. He's a very good running back. Okay, so that ends the tier. Was that tier five? Oh no, tier four. That ends tier four. Okay, so tier five. These are guys. It's like a mixed bag. I have 21 Darrell Henderson. So Henderson is 24 years old, and Cam Akers is injured. He's not playing this year. I think he tore his Achilles or something like that. I like Daryl Henderson Jr. I do. I like McVay. I think he's solid. I think I need to rethink this. I don't know necessarily if the Rams are going to like trade for a running back in the middle of the season or not. I think they might ride with Daryl Henderson. I think they might. Not entirely sure, and that's why he's at 21 because I don't think I could draft him. Maybe I could draft him over Chase Edmonds, but I couldn't draft him over Travis Etienne or Kareem Hunt just because Travis and Kareem are more certain to get points than I think Darrell Henderson is, just by a little bit. But yeah, no, I like Darrell Henderson. I'd be okay if he was my third running back on my team. I'd be definitely okay with that. 22, DeAndre Swift. So the offensive coordinator is Anthony Lynn now, I think. Yeah, it's Anthony Lynn. And he said Jamal Williams is 1A and DeAndre Swift is 1B. I mean, it's kind of surprising a little bit, but I like Jamal Williams. I've always liked him at Green Bay, so I'm not like super shocked by those comments, but DeAndre Swift is the better pass catcher. But Jared Goff's the quarterback, right? So Jared Goff's the quarterback. They have this really talented offensive line. It bodes well for Swift. And he's a great well, he's not a great pass catching running back, but he's talented. I don't know, guys. That's man, DeAndre Swift is like he's only 22 years old. I'm not touching him. It's too much uncertainty for a third round pick. I'm not gonna you know risk my fantasy team for DeAndre Swift this season. Not in the third round. All right, 23 is Michael Carter with the Jets. He's 22 years old. Guys, you have to draft Michael Carter. He has to be on your team as your fourth or third running back. Have to have him. He's talented, guys. He has home run ability. The Jets have a very strong offensive line on the left side of the offensive line, a pretty good offensive line overall. At least there's a lot of promise. Zach Wilson so far looks to be unafraid. He looks to be very confident throwing the football. I know it's the Jets secondary, right? Anybody's going to look at against the Jets secondary, even in practice. But he's confident though. He looks like a natural in there, man. He doesn't look like a rookie in his first training camp, just from the Twitter videos that I've seen of Zach Wilson. So I'm high. I think this offense surprises people. And they have Mike LaFleur, Matt LaFleur's brother, is offensive coordinator. Kyle Shanahan type of offense. I think that favors Michael Carter tremendously. He's the clear cut most talented running back. Hopefully he gets in there and starts doing his thing. It's a little bit of a risk taking him sooner than a sixth round pick. But man, seventh round, I'm all over Michael Carter, man. You got to have him on your team. All right, 24, Chris Carson. He's 27 years old. He's very injury prone. He runs extremely physical. I mean, he's probably the most physical runner in the NFL, right? Probably maybe behind Chubb. I mean, he is physical, man. He brings the boom. But with that, he gets injured a lot, a ton. He's not the greatest at catching the football. Um, but they do throw to him. And then also you have Rashad Penny behind him. And Rashad Penny played better last season when he came back from his injuries. Like he played better. So I like Chris Carson to get phased out a little bit. And there's just too many. I like the offensive line. I like Gabe Jackson. I like Pochich. I like Dwayne Brown, of course. Brandon Shaw. Like they have a pretty good offensive line this season. I have to give it to them. So I know they want to run the ball. I don't know. It's just there's just too many question marks with Carson. There's too much unreliability there. I'm passing on him. 25th, Leonard Floyd is my 25th ranked running back. He's 26 years old this season. Man, there's just so many mouths to feed in Tampa Bay. I'm passing on Lenny. I love Lenny. He's a bully. But he doesn't run like a bully anymore. I don't know what happened to him, man. He's not LSU Leonard Fournette rookie year Jacksonville Leonard Fournette. Like he's like a finesse guy. Like he looks to like sidestep everything and preserve his body, and he thinks he's like a pass catching back now. Regardless, so many mouths to feed, and even in the running back room, they got Giovanni Bernard and they have Ronald Jones. Man, like I don't see Leonard Fournette getting more than 160 fantasy points. I'm passing on him. All right, so that finishes that tier. I mean, really, I should put Leonard Fournette in the other tier, in the lower tier. Everybody else on this list, I'll just touch on really briefly, but I don't really plan on having any of these guys on my team. Maybe one or two of them. That's it. Really quickly, we'll go through them. So 26th, I have Raheem Mostert. He's 29 years old. But even at age 29, I mean, my goodness, he was age 28 last season. He still had his wheels. He was moving, man, moving. He took a screen. He took not a screen. He took like a diamond route out of the backfield. It's like first game of the season against Arizona, like 80 yards for a touchdown. Then the next week against the Jets, he took an 80-yard handoff to the house. Like, dude's fast, dude's talented, dude's confident. Moster's legit. However, the 49ers drafted Trey Sermon, and they have two other good running backs that can run the ball. And Kyle Shanahan runs a system offense where he doesn't like players to get too many touches. So, trying to preserve them for the long haul. So, I mean, unless he has like otherworldly talent, right? Like when he had Julio Jones, I mean, he threw Julio Jones the ball a lot. You know, he did. But he doesn't really have that. He doesn't have that in San Francisco. So they're going to be, Kittle gets 5 catches. Ayuk gets 5 catches. Debo Samuel gets 5 catches. Mostert gets two or one. And then, Trey Sermon gets like 8 carries and Mostert gets 12 carries. And they bring in Jeff Wright or whatever their other running back. You know what I'm saying? Like the usage is limited there. And he's injury prone. I'm skipping on Mostert. Sorry, I'm going too much in depth on these guys. Let me keep going. Latavius Murray. I like Latavius Murray. Even though Kamara's like the lead back, I think Latavius might lead that team. I don't know, he's 31 years old. He probably won't lead the team in rushing attempts, but he's going to get a good amount of rushing attempts, and he might get a lot of good opportunities at the goal line to get into the end zone. I wouldn't mind taking a chance on Latavius like in my ninth round, 10th round if he's there. Yeah, probably there in the ninth or eighth round. I don't think the eighth round is a little too high for him. 28, Damian Harris. I don't think there's a ton of receiving opportunity for the Patriots running backs. Even if Mac Jones starts over Cam Newton like halfway in the season, I'm not buying it. Um, I think Harris is just a running back specialist. That's it. I think he has a nice season. I think his average draft position is too high. I think it's like in the 6th round. I'm not. No way I'm taking Harris in the 6th round. That's way too high, especially or the 5th round. Like just no way. Like his upside's limited. 29 is Jamal Williams for the Lions. I like Jamal. I don't like Jared Goff. I think his usage is limited, kind of like the other guys I've talked about. I still think with his average draft position, like around the ninth round, I wouldn't mind taking Jamal Williams as my fourth running back. I wouldn't mind that at all. He's going to be a big part of that offense this season. He's 26 years old too, so not too old. All right, James Robinson comes in at 30. I'm just uncertain about James. I don't. I got to see this whole Travis Etienne thing pan out and see like what that's all about. James is only 23 years old, but he's not like the most fast, and he's not the most strong. He's not the biggest either. So he's just a really good football player. Like he's just a football player. Um, I think his average draft position is too high. I'm passing on James for that reason. Gus Edwards, I have at 31. Gus is predictable. Gus is going to get to 130 fantasy points easily. He'll probably get 10 rushing touchdowns this year. So like what? That's 60 points right there, and then I think he gets like close to 1,000 rushing yards, or maybe not 1,000, maybe like 800. So that's 80 plus 60, and that's 140 fantasy points. And he doesn't get a ton of receptions. Um, yeah, I like Gus. I wouldn't mind having him as my fourth running back or fifth running back, maybe. Tony Pollard's at 32. I don't know. I like Tony a lot. I just think they like Zeke so much. It's so hard to think Tony Pollard will even have a shot of being relevant in fantasy. Okay, so 33, Mike Davis. Uh, I don't know. The more I mean, Mike Davis is 28 years old. The more I think about this, I don't know. I probably have him a little too low. He probably should be higher, but I'm not drafting him. Falcons' offensive line is soft. They're good at pass blocking, but they're soft at run blocking. Um, yeah, I'm passing on Mike Davis. I think his average draft position is like the fourth or third round. That's just way too high. I'm not taking Mike Davis as my fourth round pick. You're gonna lose your fantasy league doing that. 34. I have Miles Gaskins. I have no idea with Miami. I have no idea what's going on with that running back situation. They didn't address it, so I guess they're believing in Miles Gaskins. Um, that's just too much of an uncertainty for me. You know, I have no idea about Miles Gaskins. I'm not gonna try to figure it out either. I'm gonna pass on him. He's 24 years old, by the way. 35. I have like Melvin Gordon. 36. Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones doesn't catch a pass ever. Kenyon Drake at 37. He's like with Josh Jacobs. I didn't even mention Josh Jacobs. I'm not drafting Josh Jacobs. That's why I don't even have him on my list. And he's probably going to lose carries to Kenyon Drake. Not a ton, but I mean, Kenyon Drake can do more things. He can catch the ball better than Jacobs can. Um, yeah, I mean, Kenyon Drake's 37. J.D. McKissick's at 38. Tariq Cohen's 39. James White's 40. Zach Moss 41. Naeem Hines 42. I mean, there's like waiver wire guys. I mean, I'm just like naming them. I mean, yeah, I don't even, yeah, they're waiver wire guys. So yeah, that's the my running back rankings for 2021. Again, those top 14 guys, you need to get two of them, or top 13, maybe really like top 12, top 12. Yeah, take Joe Mixon and Saquon Barkley out of there. You need two out of those 12 guys. There is possibility and probability that you can have that happen, even if you have the first pick overall. There's a good chance you can get that done. Because Miles Sanders is really low on a lot of average draft positions. Like you can get Miles Sanders like at the 24th pick easily. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that helped. Yeah, just draft strategy. I would go two running backs, my first two picks, no matter what. Just because after those 12 guys, there's nobody that's I mean, maybe Montgomery, maybe Travis Etienne blossoms, maybe Daryl Henderson, maybe Michael Carter comes on really strong. But like that's just too much of a gamble for your fantasy team. Like, don't stress yourself out. Don't be worried like trying to trade for like another running back and like being a vulture on the waiver wires, like trying to like make sure every single week you get like the hot running back off waiver wires. Like, come on, guys, you're just gonna be stressed out doing that. Take two running backs, first two picks. You're gonna thank me, okay? Just do it. Help yourself out. Give yourself more flexibility and more room to maneuver on the bye weeks for these players, okay? All right, that's all I got. I'll come out. I'll do the wide receiver rankings tomorrow, and yeah, and then we got it all pretty much squared away, and then maybe I'll do like a fantasy draft strategy podcast like in 3 or 4 days, and then yeah, hopefully that's good enough for all you guys. Um, for your drafts this season. Hopefully, I've answered all the questions and you guys kill it. So, with that said, please hit the like button on YouTube, subscribe, download my podcast, share with friends, family. I'm giving out free information here. I'm giving out completely free draft help information. All right. So, thanks, guys, for listening. See you on the next episode.